He thought staying invisible made him holy, that hiding his gifts made him humble. But inside, Ethan was dying.
He grew up in a town where Sundays were sacred, faith shaped every part of life, meals began with prayer, Wednesdays meant church, and scripture hung on living room walls like family portraits. Since childhood, he'd heard one message loud and clear: God honours the humble. That humility was the surest path to pleasing God. His parents, Sunday school teachers, and even church elders all echoed the same warning.
Don't chase success too hard. Pride comes before a fall. Stay humble. Be content.
And so he did. Though Ethan had a sharp mind and a creative heart, he learned early to downplay his talents. When he aced a math test, he shrugged. When his painting won first prize at the county fair, he hid it in the closet. When he dreamed of starting his own design company, he whispered the idea to no one. He feared success would make him seem arrogant, more unchristian. So he played it safe. He got a decent job, paid his bills, served on the usher team, read his Bible. He was, in every way, a good Christian, but inside he was quietly dying. He watched friends take bold steps, pursuing careers, missions, startups, and ministries with fire. Meanwhile, he sat behind, telling himself, maybe I'm just called to live quietly. Maybe ambition is worldly. But the ache in his chest said otherwise. One evening, after a particularly stirring message on the parable of the talents, Ethan lingered in the church. As others filtered out, he walked up to Pastor Faith, heart pounding.
Can I ask something honest?
Always, she replied gently.
I want to serve God, but I've been afraid that striving for excellence makes me prideful, that dreaming big is selfish. But lately, I just feel like I'm hiding, playing small, and I don't know if that's faith or fear.
Pastor Faith paused, then leaned forward, eyes firm but full of grace. She replied,
Ethan, humility doesn't mean shrinking. It means shining without arrogance. God isn't threatened by your ambition. He gave you that fire. Jesus himself said we are the light of the world. What good is a light if it's hidden under a basket? When you bury your talents, you don't look holy, you just look disobedient.
Her words hit Ethan like thunder. That night, Ethan went home and opened a journal. For the first time in years, he wrote down every idea, every skill he'd buried in the name of humility. And then he prayed, not for permission, but for courage. The months that followed were different. Ethan started an online course in digital design. He joined a mentorship program. He led a Bible study for young creatives. He wasn't chasing fame, but he was finally moving with purpose. He served harder, loved deeper, and worked smarter. Not for applause, but because God deserved his best, not his bare minimum. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt fully alive, fully fulfilled. A fullness he couldn't explain. Because he finally understood something that changed everything, that Christianity is not an excuse for mediocrity. It's a call to steward every gift, every talent, every opportunity, to build, to serve, to shine, not for applause, but because God deserves our excellence, not our passiveness. Because burying what God gave you isn't humility, it's disobedience dressed in fear. And the world doesn't need more believers who dim their light. It needs those who burn brightly, boldly, on purpose, with purpose. If you watch this far, congratulations. Now it's your turn. Arise and shine.